welcome back to Vintage Super League. I am here now joining Kai Buda. Kai, Ifro with really impressive display of vintage mastery and a 2-0 lead over Rich so far.
Oh, I think both actually played really well. I mean, I guess Ifro had the more complicated lines because he was the guy that had to solve the puzzle in the storm match. But I mean, I think both of them played really well so far.
Right. And from the perspective of Rich here, obviously he would love to make an incredible comeback and win the match. But even to steal one or to ideally force it to a fifth match is big, given the format here of this robin, where the first tiebreaker is your match win percentage. So obviously he would love to win them all, but getting this third one is really important for Rich.
Yeah, like if you get swept, even in the solution of a three-way tie, you're probably just out on match win percentage. But the problem is that if he wins the next, then Ifro gets to play first twice, which is pretty rough.
Yeah. Yep. But obviously Rich, vintage superstar, and has been a veteran both of the Super League here and then of course the vintage circuit. So certainly capable. And we were just talking off camera about what we thought he might play. You mentioned you thought possibly Shops.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that he's playing Shops, but maybe he's expected to play one Shops deck at least. So Eric is probably prepared. Like, Eric is going to have at least one deck that's great against Shops, I think. So maybe just Rich went with 3 blue decks just to circumvent. Like, if he does that, he leaves a lot of hate in all of Eric's decks useless, I think. So, but then the problem is, if you take 3 blue decks, after this match, if Rich wins, then they pick a deck out of their 3 decks to play for the 4th match. And if you play 3 Pyromancer decks, Eric just plays the best deck against this archetype, which makes it a little bit easy for Eric, I think.
Well, it sounds like the players are ready, so mystery will be solved shortly. We are going to take a very, very, very short break and head down to the match for match 3 of Rich versus Eric on Vintage Super League. Here we are. Good read, Kai. Rich on the play with Ravager, Thought Not Seer Shops. And it looks like we have a Shuhei Nakamura appearance here.
No. Oh, yeah, there's a deck fade. I was like, there's no force blue card, but yeah, never mind. What the hell is wrong with this deck? I mean, he did name it Shuhei Oath, so obviously he draws Orchid Mox. But then, yeah. He's just gonna force. Yeah, this is just game over, pretty much.
I love it.
This was one of Rich's outs, actually. That was one of the outs. Because now, with the Grizzlebrand in his hand, if he can't find a Brainstorm or a Jace, he has to win with a Salvager combo. But Rich has another Sphere to shut that down for now. So first he has to get Engineered Explode. Like, this will take a while for Eric to win now.
However, isn't it possible that Rich is going to try to play around Grizzlebrand by revoking Grizzlebrand here instead of playing Sphere? Oh, he can play both. He can do both.
Yeah, he has mana. He could play Sword Nuts here now, but there's really no reason to do that.
Yeah, so Revoker on Grizzlebrand and then Sphere kind of shuts down a lot of Ifro's ways to win the game immediately, although, of course, we see Engineer Explosives waiting in hand.
Yeah, but that takes a while. Sure. And then he has to find the Black Lotus first. Like, if he opens up the Salvager before hitting the Black Lotus, I mean, like, the easy solution would just be to also... Oh, he casts that first. Okay. That's reasonable, I suppose. It's not that likely that he can win right away. Like, he has to mill the Black Lotus and then hit the Salvages. But what do you take now? I would probably... Oh, really? I would have been tempted to take the Explosives and hope that the Sphere shuts Eric down.
Sure. So if he hits both Pyrite Spellbomb and Lotus before Auriok Salvagers, this game will just be over.
Yes, then we're done.
What Shuhei would do.
Shuhei was actually not very good at that. Like, there
No.
was lots of games where Shuhei just had to actually play a couple of turns to win, but the setup was very similar. I mean, did he
Wow.
just? Oh, 6 cards left in his library. He has to win now.
Yeah, he has it both. Wow,
He has
amazing.
both.
So
Yeah.
what we just saw, ladies and gentlemen, right there is on the draw a turn 2 kill through turn 1 Sphere of Resistance, turn 2 Thought Knot Seer. No problem.
Shuhei O's. Too powerful. Yeah, this looks exactly like Shuhei's list almost. Like, I think I saw a Mind Break Trap, and there's multiple Planeswalkers. Yeah, it's very similar to Shuhei's
Someone
last version.
may want to call Shuhei up because the way Ifro is tearing through these matches tonight, we might be ready for the finals in a couple hours.
I mean, I hope you're ready for Mox Orchid O's, because... And there's even the balance, yeah.
Rich is gonna take out some of his less potent, threatening creatures, which just serve to trigger Oath of Druids and get even a little more disruptive. And of course, the ubiquitous Grafdigger's Cage, which
That doesn't help. We know there's always an Orchid in play.
And what are the chances of actually having Oath of Druids, Mox, Orchid, Force of Will blue card in your hand? We've seen historically this season it's 80-ish, 90%. I don't know.
94.3 or something. Would you? I was just wondering, like, would you consider to leave in Jitter? Because if Eric does the turn 1 Orchid Mox O thing, it's very likely that you have the mana to cast and equip Jitter, right? Then you kill your own token and you have another activation for the next token. I mean, I guess it doesn't really help you that much.
Yeah, you're still at the mercy of getting a cage in play and sticking it there, right?
Yeah, eventually you have to. That's a good hand for most players, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, borderline perfect for Rich. He's got a threat, a thorn, or a lock piece, the cage to stop Oath, and plenty of the right mana. So.
Yeah, and I mean, for Eric, the hand is obviously not ideal, but outside of the perfect hand, this is probably what you want.
Sure.
You have 2 1-mana spells, 4 lands. So, I mean, he's reasonably happy with that, I guess. Like, if he had that hand on the play, he would probably be ecstatic about it.
Right. As it is, this Triskelion is going to hit him for a bit.
Yeah. Can't do anything about it. Triskelion is such a poor win condition in this matchup, though. Yes. Like, it's 6 mana, 4/4. I mean,
of course, the good news is that it does have the ability to blow itself up, which is nice sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So what's
so Ifro with the opportunity to, if Rich does nothing, he can Steel Sabotage the Thorn of Amethyst and then steal Triskelion with Dak Faden. Sphere of Resistance is going to probably meet a spell snare here.
Yeah, that kind of... I mean, now... What Eric can do now is next turn cast the Oath, and then on his next upkeep, the Oath will go on the stack, because that's how it works. And then in response, you can bounce the Grafdigger's Cage, so he does get the Oath trigger if Rich doesn't then kill his own Triskelion. Which is a very positive trade-off for Eric, I would think.
The other option is to just build up mana and steal Triskelion with Dak Faden and keep the Steel Sabotage.
I kind of like the other solution. Like, if you cast Oath now, then do that next turn, then the turn after resolves the Dak Faden or the Jace. Yeah. I mean, this is really bad for Rich now, I think. He just drew too much mana.
Yeah, and the problem with my play, of course, is that if he were to try to build up mana and Dak Faden and the Triskelion would both be able to kill Dak in response and itself, leaving Ifro with kind of nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. It kills the deck, and then it's not that great. Yeah, I like this. It's pretty good. I mean, it kind of relies on Rich not doing anything, but he just doesn't do anything at all. So
right.
Yeah, no, Oath on the stack, and Bounce your cage.
This honestly kind of repeats a pattern, I think, of a lot of matches that I've seen with this shop deck, which is that it has a pretty reasonable 3 or 4 mana opening hand, and then if it just draws kind of even mana and spells over the first 2 or 3 turns, it can fall behind really, really quickly to the more powerful, cheap blue spells.
Yeah. Like, the problem is you have 28 to 30 mana sources, and you have spheres. Spheres are awesome if they lock your opponent out, but if you only draw one like this, it just doesn't do enough and you're just flooding out. Like, the first sphere doesn't have that much effect if your opponent draws lands. Like,
Right.
if you draw enough spheres and wastelands, you just lock your opponent out and you never cast anything. But it's very easy to flood. Yeah. Why? Oh, he killed it. Yeah, sure. Never mind. So now he casts that thing again, but then we get to see probably a Jace.
Oh yeah.
He could deck Faden and steal the Soul Ring, which is also really powerful.
I I think he'd be tempted to leave the deck Faden active.
Oh, or we could just draw Ancient Grudge. Yeah, I kind of like casting a Planeswalker first, I guess. I mean, this is just really running away from Rich.
Hi, do they say there's no wrong way to eat that Reese's in Germany? Ephro could be virtually or Emrakul. Like he could take the 40th percentile play here and still be in pretty amazing shape this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably saw too much GP coverage on the weekend. There's too many situations where this is looking really good for one player when the other guy was just actually shaking someone's hand to concede.
Yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't do it. Yeah, I mean, this is just over. That doesn't do much.
Well, it'll accelerate the game as now he's going to get the cage grudged on upkeep, and then we can move on with Oaken.
Well, I mean, he can kill. Like once again, Rich's creature can kill itself to prevent the ults from happening, but that's not really a good solution to winning the game. Just keep killing. Killing your own creatures.
I might just hope that the Oath is a bluff and Ephro's boarded out all of his creatures at this point.
Maybe.
It might honestly might be your best equity.
Yeah, maybe your best bet is that you just hope that you win off Ephro's oaths. I mean, he can kill himself with oaths.
Yeah, no joke.
Like when I played similar decks before, and I usually had like one card that would stop myself from getting decked. Like there's like a blue card that like you shuffle 3 cards back into your library, flash black for 1 green. Like I was usually scared enough to play that one copy. If you draw it, you can pitch it to Force of Will, and if you oath it, you can then put Time Walk back and win.
It's possible Ephro just missed that he couldn't cast Grudge from his graveyard with Cage in play. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, he might have, and it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, if he's anything like me, he is both sick and exhausted from traveling from Sydney, and then I was in the Pacific Northwest.
I mean, Ephro said that he was back early enough and he didn't go to a GP last weekend, but he also said that his sleeping pattern is completely messed up.
Sure.
So he probably is pretty tired. But yeah, I think he wanted to be smart and kill the Thorn first, because it reduces the mana cost, but yeah. Forgot that flashback doesn't work, but it's not gonna matter, I don't think. I mean, he's losing his Jace, to be fair, if he doesn't bounce the Ravager now. He probably just has to bounce the Ravager. It's not great, but...
I think he'll be okay with that.
Yeah. I mean... the problem is that Rich just has no good draws in his deck, right? Like, all his mana... Like, more than half his deck is mana denial, which doesn't do anything anymore. Oh yeah, you can just steal the Ravager, so it has to kill itself. And the token can kill the deck Faden, but... Oh, you could even bounce the token if you wanted to. Why did Paul just turn into a panda? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and there's more mana. But Rich is doing his best Reed Duke impression. Never concede. Don't surrender. I mean, he does get some value from just letting Eric O's, so he sees his sideboard plan. The Ancient Grudge was main deck, so he doesn't. I mean, he knows that there's Spell Snare and Steel Sabotage, which is probably from the sideboard, but might as well force him to actually activate his O's. I mean, Eric could be smart now and just not activate his O's and kill him with Jace or something, but then, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's very close to Shuhei's deck list, so I don't think he has any secrets to protect. I assume he will just O's and get this over with as soon as he can get rid of the cage. That shouldn't be the biggest problem. There's also, I mean, I don't even think there's anything that Rich can draw at this point. Eric can counter once, and most cards in Rich's deck just don't do anything anymore. Yeah, it's just like a bunch of wastelands and spheres that Eric doesn't even have to deal with. And Eric gets 2 Planeswalker activations per turn. That should be enough. Eventually. Tick through time. The question is, how many actual artifact removal does Eric have? It's probably not that much. I would guess he has 2 or 3 Ancient Grudges, and then the rest is Spell Snare and Steel Sabotage. But as soon as he sees the next Ancient Grudge, we should be done.
I'm back.
Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you. Lost internet for a moment. Did I miss anything exciting?
So basically, you have a crappy computer, a crappy mic, and a crappy internet connection. That is impressive.
But I've got great decks for tonight.
Oh, we got a Pulverize. Okay, then. I think you're just in time for the grand final. I wonder if he's just hard casting the Pulverize next turn, probably. Doesn't want to sacrifice lands.
Nah. Luckily, Rich drew 6 lands, so he'll lose that Graph Digger's Cage, which is...
Yeah, he did draw a Mox Pearl last turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this is a little bit academic, but... I mean, it's correct for Rich not to concede because he might see more sideboard cards.
Or he might... Ephro's... The entire Southwest server of Magic Online could go down again. Ephro get disconnected, and they would have to restart with Rich on the play.
Southwest server. Obviously, they have like one old Pentium 2 somewhere in Seattle, and that's like the Magic Online server. But come on, Eric. Just cast the Pulverize. He can't even kill himself. He already cast the Dig through time, so he knows the bottom 5 cards of his library. So there's no hope for a random O's win. Maybe if Greaserbrand is like the 6th last card, and then Eric misclicks the Greaserbrand to draw 7. That would be one solution.
It's really a testament to how much mana Rich found this game, that he drew 2 Ancient Tombs in like his top 10 cards and is at 20 life. Just hasn't even needed them.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, you wouldn't play Ancient Tomb. It's just by far the worst land. But sometimes you're a little bit short on workshops and Eldrazi temples.
Do people ever play?
And Black Lotus, finally. And then the 2 creatures he drew this game were a 6 mana 4/4 and a 2 mana 1/1. It's all a little bit underpowered.
Maybe Ephra's trying to replicate the Shuhei strategy of getting 7 ridiculous blue cards in his hand before he starts to even do anything. He wants to have
countering that.
Force of Will, Spell Snare,
I don't understand why he doesn't just cast the Pulverize and be done with it. I mean, what?
He doesn't want to lose his own Lotus
Oh, yeah.
because it's foil.
Oh, now he's using it to cast the Pulverize. He got it. Now... So, now he has, what, 2 counters up? Seems pretty safe. Oh, the Eldrazi Temple. Only at Emrakul in his deck.
Yeah, historically, Magic Online has given you some sort of false hope card in that situation, but here it just gives Rich yet another mana.
Wait. Oh, he doesn't have... I don't think he has Forbidden Orchid in his deck anymore. I think all 4 are gone. So he actually has to win with Jace now. Like, he discarded 3 Orchids to deck Faden, and then 1 was Wastelanded. But winning with Jace is just about as good in this spot. Yay, a lock piece.
And that should pretty much lock Efro out.
How are we done? Can't cast any more spells. So what does Jace Ultimate do again? You shuffle your hand, exile the library, and then shuffle the hand into the library or something?
Correct.
So yeah, with the deck Faden, it's almost immediately game over.
It's pretty tough to overcome with a Mox and a Lotus in your hand, yeah.
You also get decked pretty fast, right? Like, deck lets you draw 2 cards. He's just going to target Rich with deck.
It's like reverse Doomsday. It's like actual Doomsday.
It's actually Doomsday, yeah. You only get to keep the crappy part of your deck, not the good stuff. But it's minus 12, right? So we need... Or minus 11, I guess.
Would be just absolutely phenomenal if Efro were to ultimate Jace and then Rich would just Cavern of Souls Laboratory Maniac out of nowhere. But somehow I don't think that's...
Saw it coming. Boarded out all creatures.
Maybe that's what Efro's playing around here. Of course, that's very easy to play around. He just would need to not lose his Jace in the process of...
Well, you could attack the Jace.
Well, but if he keeps the Jace in play, he can just start minusing the Jace.
Yeah, but if you minus for ultimate, right? Oh, yes, and yes.
There's no rush.
You
would 30 or 40 counters before he.
You will need a way to get the Lab Maniac haste so it can attack the Jace.
Yeah, right. So, is there a colorless way? Oh yeah, just Lightning Greaves, and then he's actually
Lightning Greaves.
Yeah.
That actually gets played in these decks sometimes. Not in this version, but...
He needs to resolve Lightning Greaves, 2 Lightning Greaves, and then put them on Leon and Abunis and on the Laboratory Maniac. And then, yeah, I think that would do it.
I mean, probably not going to see that, sadly, but... I mean, Eric drew 42 cards of his deck now.
Yeah.
It's a little bit overwhelming.
And I don't think Efro can play... I mean, he can counter the Lightning Greaves, but if Rich is able to get the Greaves into play...
He can still Ancient Grudge the Greaves, though. And he's got Pirates... Oh, he saw it. He's got Pirate Spellbomb to play around the Lab Maniac.
But not if he resolves Leon and Abunis first. Then he can't...
Oh, sure. There's a Ravager? What's that going to do?
I apologize
Eric,
for some other kind of kill that's...
Eric is also pretty uncertain what that Ravager is supposed to mean now. I think...
Just like... He's have a Banefire. Banefire would do it, right?
Banefire? Yeah, that should do it.
He has the Lotus.
So...
Yeah, he's got enough mana.
What's going on now? Why don't you just ultimate Jace?
I don't know. If you're Efro here, which has the Banefire, I think he would be pretty unhappy.
But if you ultimate Jace, then you can't do anything. What is the ultimate on Jace? Is it minus...
Exactly what you said.
12? 11? 12. Okay. I guess time work.
Right. That's why I said you leave counters on the Jace to play around Laboratory Maniac, uh, and then protecting it from the Pyro. I don't know how you protect it from the Pyro Spell Bomb too. So
Yeah. With 2 cards having Caverns of Soul, Lab Maniac, and stuff to protect it, it's kind of difficult. Now you have Ancestral too, so yeah, please just kill him. Finally.
you know, the situations where one player is clearly dead and choose not to concede, which is obviously their right, and you know that I respect that, and the other is just kind of toying with his food. I just think let them both go at it. You're playing Magic. If they're both having fun, keep going as long as you want.
What about us, though? I mean, you're just waiting to see your exciting brews for the next round.
Well, we had a great chat about Lightning Greaves, so I think we had fun too. So
Yeah. I mean,
Ifra,
Ifro moves on 3-0, puts him in a pretty awesome spot tiebreaker-wise, even if he loses the last match and everything goes 1-1-1.
mhm.
Although, I guess if he loses the last match, you can still 2-0, I guess, and Rich can 0-2. So, yeah, he's got a reasonably good shot now. It's pretty sad for Rich. I mean, Rich played really well, especially in the first 2 matches, and got 3-0'd. I mean, in the last match, I mean, it's kind of Rich's fault, right? Like, he just didn't bring the O stack, and you know it's just going to win. Like, we've seen that again and again. That's just a poor choice of deck. Like,
And now Rich, of course, is going to be sitting at home rooting for me to vanquish Ifro here. As if Ifro is able to beat me in this next match, there's no tiebreakers, no shenanigans. He's straight through to face Shuhei in the Triple Oath Mirror. If 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 I'm able to defeat Ifro, then it's going to come down to next week's match between myself and to Rich. So we're going to take a short break right now. We'll be right back with me on camera trying to beat Storm.
you're on camera right now.
Yeah, I'll be
So
next.
nothing changes. You're just staying on camera.
Right, but I'm playing now.
You're playing then, yes.
Yeah. So
Well,
we're going to take a
best of luck. I don't want to shortcut this semi-final series, so
Thank you.
I hope you're winning.
Appreciate it.